Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Our author is back, Marva Simon, and her name of her book is Oh No, Not My Baby. It's praise, prayer, and thanksgiving during the difficult time of childbearing. You know, Marva, a lot of women would be reading this, but I think men read it too because men suffer. I've seen men suffering while their wives are in the hospital, or sometimes more than even the women, because the women don't even know what's going on. They're out, and there's their husband, right?
Yes.
Where was your husband when you were giving birth?
He was at work.
Oh, right, at work.
Unfortunately, he was at work.
Right. But did you have anyone with you? Did you have a friend or somebody?
No.
You didn't?
I was alone at the moment.
Ah, so you can really appreciate what it's like to have, your partner there.
Yes.
Well, let's just talk about, though, what kind of happened that made it different for you to have a baby than from other people.
For me, it's just the challenges that I faced. I know I'm speaking for most women that give birth to children that gotten pregnant and going through the labor, and when it comes on to the delivery, that can be challenging. You know, it's not only that I had gotten pregnant and went through the 9 months of labor, but it was frightening when time come for the delivery of the child and I run into problems.
How old were you? I forget.
I was 20.
You're just a kid.
I was 28.
Oh, all right. Well, wasn't just a kid.
Yes.
But it's still the same thing, and you're still afraid. It was your first child, wasn't it?
No, it was my second child.
That's right. So the first went very easily.
Yes.
You didn't expect any problems with your second child.
No. So it was very, I would say challenging, because after gone through the first one, so easily, and then go through with the second one, with such problems, it was really frightening.
Yeah, I had the same thing. I was 17 though when see. I had 17 or 18 maybe. I was 18 when I had my first child, but that went very easily also.
Yes.
But it was my next child that in the next year and a half that I had something, you call it challenging. Well, I was pretty young, and it was, it was hard.
Yes.
But I did have, my mother was nearby, my mother-in-law. Did you have family around with you?
Yes, I had my sister, because she had my toddler while I was in the hospital. And then thank God I had my husband, who was my support, even though at that moment he was not there. But I know that he would have been there, when he left work to come join me, which he did, and that was so comforting, knowing that some women do not have that luxury, they just bear children alone, even though they do not. I'm sure they didn't conceive alone, but it just so happened that when they're going through the labor and delivery, there's no one there with them, But I thank God for my partner who was there with me.
So when was the first that you heard that this was not going so well?
Well, the minute that, like I've said before, when the water bag broke, and I went in the hospital on Thursday, and I thought I was in labor. But then on Friday, when we expected the baby was to be born, we realized that the baby turned across. And so that was not good, especially when the doctor came to me and told me that there is nothing that they can do because I am fact that I'm diabetic, and I'm still diabetic, and I had a high blood pressure. I was in a high risk category, and so they said they could not do anything with me. So I had to wait until, like I did say again, the man upstairs referring to God, only him could have done anything at the moment. And so they had to leave me.
That must have been so scary.
Indeed it was. You know, it's a good thing that I'm a woman of faith, you know, so my faith kept me through.
Yes.
I was there and I would not get upset or anything because I had to be strong for the baby.
Yes.
I realized that if I had gotten upset, my pressure would have gone up higher and everything else would have gone, you know, sky high. So I had to remain calm in that situation.
Were you in pain at that? Were you actually in labor at the same time that this was happening? So were you feeling pain too?
I wasn't feeling pain. I was in pain like a couple minutes before. I was actually in labor until the baby decided to turn.
I see. Yeah. Right.
To make a different turn. I guess he wasn't ready to come out. So he just turned and left me there. You know, so scary.
How much did he weigh when he came out?
He was 8 pounds.
Oh, yeah, so he was a big baby. Yeah.
But like I said, today he's 32 years old and he still have a mind of his own. So I guess he was just doing, you know, his own thing.
That's right. He just did that, but he didn't want to make you. I know he loves you, and he wouldn't have done that had he had any control. He was just the
Yes.
baby he didn't know. Yes. So anyway, the good news though is he did finally turn, right?
He did finally turn, yes. After prayer, and like I keep saying, like I did said before in that interview, when my husband came in that evening and he started praying. Yeah. Even though I had prayed before and keep begging the baby, you know, to move around, he wouldn't budge.
Listen to his father. And
when he heard his father's voice, that's why I said the father played a big role in the life of his children, right? Even before birth.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So he talked. Right. That's what men don't realize how important they really are.
I'm exactly right. So I'm saying it on you know, loud for the men to hear how important it is for them to be there from the beginning.
That's right, men. You
with
hope
their
you're
children.
To this.
Yes,
you
it's
started
very
this
important.
whole thing.
They started this whole thing, and they have to continue with it. And I give God thanks for the men who stood by their children. Yes, by their wives in that time.
That was wonderful. All right, so now the baby comes, and you figure, okay, now a couple of days in the hospital, and I'm going home.
Oh yes, that's what I thought. But it did not happen that way. After 2 days at the second day of birth, when I thought I was going home, then I got the call from the elderly woman in my room. As she walked up to me and she said to me, Mrs. Simon, do you know that they are taking your baby? I mean, I did not wait until she finished that statement. I said, say what? Oh, no, not my baby.
That's the name of your book.
Yes. And like I said, I ejected from that chair so fast, I did not even realize what I was. All I know, like I said in the book, I thought I was in a race with Usain Bolt. Do you know that Jamaican guy who run the track and field?
Yes.
I thought I was in a race with him. Because I sped up so fast in that nursery, from my room to that nursery. I didn't even know myself. I mean, I thought I was going out of my mind. Can you imagine a woman just does have a baby and to hear someone coming to ask you, do you know that they're taking your baby away? I mean, what baby? My baby?
Right, not my baby.
Oh, no, not my baby.
My baby's fine.
My baby's fine. About? Because I'm sitting down here waiting for my baby, for someone to come tell me that we are being discharged. It's 2 days and I did not have a cesarean. I had a natural birth. And those days, after the second day, you're going home.
Right.
And so for me to hear that my baby has been taken away, Oh no, I don't think so. And so I was in a rage. I was upset. I was mad, and just having a baby, I know my condition was poor. With high blood pressure and the diabetes and everything, I was in no shape.
What you just went through,
to go through what I'm going through, even after, you know.
Yeah, I said this to you before, and I'm still shocked that they didn't come and talk to you first.
And maybe that's what really sent shockwave through my brain.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
That allowed me to really eject it from the chair so fast. And in that race with Usain Bolt.
Yeah, I understand.
Oh my God. But you know what? Till this day, I sit down here, and I can say that it was nobody else but God who kept me. Because for somebody to go through something like that and acted so crazy, I mean, I could have had a brain hemorrhage.
Yeah, sure.
So many things could have gone wrong.
Yes.
And the way that I acted, it was not intentional.
No.
Because I did not expect what to happen to me. For someone to come and tell me that my baby is being taken away, I mean, that would allow any woman to go crazy.
I agree. It is very strange. So then you got there to where the babies were, and did you see them actually getting the baby all ready to go?
The baby was stringed up in the incubator with so much strings all over him.
Tubes and everything.
I could not even identify him. If I did not see him at birth when he was born and they put him on my chest, I wouldn't realize that was my baby if I did not see him before, because he was unrecognizable. And with all the medical personnel standing around him, they were ready to take him away. But like I said, I did not know who sent that woman to come and tell me about the baby.
Yeah, that was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes, I would appreciate it if they had come to me, Mrs. Simon. We need to get your signature to take the baby away, because I knew when I observed the scene, the situation, I realized that they were just waiting for me to get a signature to take the baby off, because I know that they would not take the baby away unless they get my signature. Right. So that's what they were waiting for. But the fact that they did not come and tell me that's what really blew my mind.
Yep,
and almost sent me in the crazy house.
Yeah.
And I did not appreciate that at all. And so they had me there trying to control me, because I felt like my heart was pounding through my chest.
Sure.
I was in such, oh my God, I can't even explain to you how much.
Feel like that today, don't you?
I'm still feeling like that today. It's 32 years ago,
and
it's so emotional.
Yes.
Every time I talk about it, I get emotional.
Yeah.
You know.
I hope they learned a lesson, those people.
I'm sure.
But the good news about this whole frantic thing is that they were watching your baby and knew that he was not doing well, and they had to do something quickly, didn't they?
Yes. What I observed is that they were trying to let the baby pass his stool, and so they could. That could not happen, and so they trying to. When I realized, and from what they told me, that the baby had an obstructive bowel, and that's what they were trying to see, to try everything to see if he would pass his stool, but it did not happen, and so that's why the reason why they told me that he had to have surgery because of the obstructive.
Imagine
bowel.
An 8-pound baby.
Yes.
Had to have an operation on his
second day of birth.
Amazing.
Yes.
And so he must have been a strong baby, though, because he would have had to be able to survive that.
Yes. I could. When I left the hospital and went down to Manhattan Cornell Medical Center, where he was, that evening I went straight there in the snow. In my condition, I was bleeding. I was, oh my God, I was in such bad shape, but I could not go home. I had to go to see the baby.
Of course you did. Of course.
And so, like you said, you must be strong. When I went and I saw the little tiny body lay in that incubator. I could see it's crunching his fingers.
Yeah.
He was in pain, but he was fighting.
Oh.
I could just see him, just fighting the pain.
Yeah.
And I knew he was in pain because not long after I arrived there, I had to call the nurse and to tell her that the baby is in distress. And yes, he certainly was, because they had to give him a suction before I left there. And
Marva, this is such a compelling story. I want everyone to understand. What I am doing is interviewing an author, which usually we don't get into this like this, but it is such a compelling story. I've just been mesmerized. I was when I picked up your book and I started reading it. That's why I wanted to review your book. Oh, No, Not My Baby, prayer, praise, and thanksgiving during the difficult time, childbearing, by Marva Simon. And Marva wrote this very, very good book. It's not a large book, but it's filled with all the emotion that you hear on the radio show. And if you have someone who really has a baby and they went through anything like this, and so many people do, this is a wonderful book. It's so encouraging and it's so heartfelt, and that's why I thought you would really enjoy this book, because you can hear how Marva sounds on the radio is when you read the book you feel the same thing. You're able to put all of that emotion in your book. Yes,
because it's a real life story. It's not something that is fiction.
No, it's reality.
It's a reality. And so someone would say, even after so many years, you remember everything? Yes, I did, because it's like, it's a reality. But what happened is that for us women, we have to realize that, being pregnant with a child, it's a life and death situation, especially when we are caught up into situations, and so especially when a doctor say, I can help you, and it's up to God, then you have to pray. And then during the time of praying, you have to converse with the Maker and give him thanks and give him praise, throughout the whole situation, because there is no one else to turn to. If you have given up by man or given up by the doctors, who are you going to turn to? If you know God for yourself, then you're going to turn to him. Isn't that right, Anita?
Sure. And the baby certainly felt all that.
Yes.
The baby, knew your husband, he knew you, but he felt the power, of your prayer and your dedication to making him.
The power of the prayer, Anita. Yeah. You said it, the power of the prayer, because there's power in prayer.
Yep.
Yes, and there's power in praises.
Mm-hmm. So today, we can do a fast forward, but your son, when did you first tell him about what he put you through? I want to just go back a minute. So then they did the operation, and he did get through the operation, and then after a year, they wanted to get him back the way he's supposed to be, right?
To be reconnected.
Because you had a bag the whole year. For a little baby, that must have been quite a deal.
Yes. But he didn't understand what was going on with him. He acted just like a normal baby for the year that he had it on. It didn't understand anything as a baby.
But it certainly made you do nothing but dedicate your life to that child.
Yes, I was overly protective of him.
Of course.
Because I did not want anybody to take care of him, because naturally,
of course not.
With the bag and everything on, I wanted everything to be clean. I don't think that anybody would understand how to take care of him like I would.
Of course. So it was about a year of dedication to this until
exactly
they
1
were
year
going to reconnect him.
Yes. The doctor had given me a kit for me to take home when he left the hospital, and he told me that within that year I'm supposed to perform the test, and whatever he gave to me an instruction, I followed the instruction all the way, which at that moment everything went through the way he told me. So he said to me, if that test comes out positive, then I know that bring him right away back at the appointed time to be reconnected. And so when I went to the doctor by the hospital, and he looked at me and told me that, he's not ready. But I said, the kit that you gave me, I performed the test and everything came out negative. So what's the problem?
Yeah.
And so that's when I told him.
So what was the problem?
So that's what I would like to find out from. I did try to find out from him, but like I said, that was not the doctor. I know, like I said, that enemy wanted that baby dead, because if he did not do the surgery, And
wow.
so I looked at the doctor and I told him, no, this is not you, doctor. This is not you. I know that you told me what to do, and I know that this baby is ready to be reconnected today, this week. And so after all the calling upstairs onto the other floors and stuff like that, and then in a couple, I wouldn't say an hour, between that time and an hour that I went in his office, then he tell me, Mr. Simon, just wait for me in this office here. And then he called me back and told me to take the baby upstairs to be reconnected.
You were so powerful.
I was determined.
Yeah, so powerful. He said, I got to do this because this isn't going to go well otherwise.
All the way I am saying, oh no, devil, not my baby.
That's right. Not
this is
my
a mother.
baby.
This is a mother trying to fight for the life of her baby.
Right.
He wasn't going anywhere. This is my baby. God gave him to me, and he wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
So I had to fight all the way.
I love
mothers. When you have your children and they're sick and they're going through anything, do not give up on them.
Yeah.
Fight all the way for your children.
Oh yeah.
For God knows why He gave them to us. So that we are able to take care of them.
Well, you're so good, such a motivator. So now this is interesting. It gets to I hope we have time, get to the end though, because it is a happy ending, but for a while we didn't know here. So.
Right. So it went to the upper ending that the babies got reconnected, but then at the moment, at that time when he's supposed to be reconnected, reconnected and pass his stool the same night or the following day, he said at least a next day, because he said it's not normal. It's normal for the baby to pass his stool the following day, but it went into 6 days.
I didn't remember 6. I knew it was a few days. 6 days?
6 days.
So meanwhile, there's no stool passing.
No stool.
Oh, yeah, that's dangerous.
And the
Very dangerous.
And the baby looked like he was dying.
Oh, my gosh.
He was blown up from his head to his toe.
I can't even hear this. I forgot this. I forgot it was 6 days.
And so, like I said again, if it had not been for my faith, for my prayer, my determination, that baby would have died. So when the doctor came to me and said, Mr. Simon, we don't know what happened. This is abnormal. We may have to have a surgery, go back in the baby again and cut him, and to see what's going on in his body. I said, doctor.
Oh my gosh.
I said, I trust you. Do whatever you have to do.
Sure.
But I know what I have to do. And so I walked from the room and I went downstairs. And that's when I realized that I had to connect to the higher power, because the baby was in trouble.
Yes.
And I needed help. I couldn't do it on my own.
Right.
And so when I went and I talked to God and I came back upstairs, then the baby began to pass his stool.
Oh my goodness, isn't that now? See, that's the glory of the conversation. Yeah, that was it. Oh,
that's
my
a miracle.
Because otherwise,
he would have died.
Yeah. because to undergo another operation like that would just be too much for him.
It would be too much for the baby.
And so once he started passing, isn't that interesting? That was, wow, it's so emotional. I can hardly take a breath when you tell that story. It's just,
yes.
So people do need to realize that doctors can do whatever they can do, husbands can do, mothers, but when it comes down to the final thing, people have to pray and have to really turn to
God.
Yeah, to their maker.
To the maker.
Right?
Yes, their faith have to lift their faith at that moment.
Right. Because
when you're in a life and death situation and no one else to help you,
no.
You have to turn to the higher power, which is God.
Mm-hmm. And if and how then once he passed, he was okay. Once he passed the stool.
Once he's fallen, they were just passing his stool. When the doctor came in and he saw it.
Oh, so he was so happy. He said,
"That's
it.
Happy.
So he's going to be okay."
That's what he have been looking for.
And so, how much longer did he have to stay in the hospital?
He didn't stay much longer in the hospital.
You got to take him home.
I got to take him home.
Well, that's wonderful, Marva. I love the story. I'm so glad you came back. See, it was a different interview this time because it was so emotional. I'm sure people listening, and just thank you so much for writing the book and for being such an inspiration to other people. Thank you again.
And thank you for having me.
It was my pleasure.
God bless you.